Okay, people. So, yeah, I was mulling over, right, what to consume, and I settled on Musica. Right, this is written and directed by Rudy Mancuso, with Dan Lagana also co-writing it with him. The film is produced by McG and Mary Viola. It's executive produced by Sam and John Shahidi. Um, Also, Bruce Wayne Gills, Robbie Chernow, Stephen Bello, Rudy Mancuso, and Camila Mendes. It is co-produced by Meredith Wetcher and Monib Abhat. Rudy Mancuso also handled the music. Shane Herbert was on cinematography. Melissa Ken edits the piece. Ross Marison and Julie Tucker were behind the casting. Patrick M. Sullivan Jr., production design. Gonzalo Cordoba was art direction. Set decoration, we have Kerry Lederman and Molly Robinson, with Tara Duncan on costume design. Hair and makeup, we got Kira Stuger, Emily S. Mackenzie, Lily Lee, Carla Gentry Osario, and Edsel Eccleston. So the cast, well, people, we have got Rudy Manescuo as Rudy, right? Where is his? Okay, Millie Guzman is his mother. Yeah. Wait, no. Millie Guzman is not his mother. No, Millie Guzman plays Carla. His mother is Maria, played by his mother, Maria Mancuso. Right, we've got JB Smooth as Anwar, one of his close friends. Right, there is Haley, his girlfriend, played by Francesca Reale. Then there's Isabella, the other woman, played by Camila Mendes. His professor is played by Andy Grutelescun. There is Luna, played by Camelia Senna. We've got Haley's mother, Claire, played by Regina Schneider. His dad, Bruce, played by Gregory Jones. And her brother, Wyatt, played by Finn Brown. Oh, yes, Carla is their maid. Yes. There is the fish market employee who's played by the Sylvan G. He works with Isabella. Andy Muschietti, right, the director, plays a subway busker, which is interesting. Jill is played by Gabriella Amurth. A younger version of Rudy is played by Miles Corrales. That's the main lot of people. There's a lot of different performers and things and whatnot, but that's the main, I would probably say. Right now, the gist of the film is this: it's a coming of age love story that follows an aspiring creator with synesthesia who must come to terms with an uncertain future while navigating the pressures of love, family, and his Brazilian culture in Newark, New Jersey. This is actually the feature directorial debut from Mancuso, right? Yeah, and I think the first feature film he's written as well. Definitely, yeah. I mean, it definitely is. Right now, synesthesia, right? What is that, you may ask? Well, when you Google, it says it is the fancy name for when you experience one of your senses through another. Is in this film, Rudy experiences music visually, right? So it's that, it's when people smell something and see a color, right? Or hear a name and see a color. It's that kind of thing. That's what that is, which is, I mean, it's interesting, right? Um, and I think what this film does really well, is visualizing that, right? It's he's walking down the stairs and you see piano notes, right? When his mother puts his breakfast in front of him, he sees piano keys, right? In the bread with chocolate spread on it. I think that's chocolate spread. Anyway, so we get that, right? He hears thing, and it's in thing, it's not necessarily you're hearing music, right? He can hear someone tapping their foot, and that noise, or the rustling of a paper, and that noise becomes a melody, so we see that, right? There'll be noise, and then suddenly this whole sequence breaks out of people kind of performing as if, the paper, the cup, those things are musical instruments. So you get this really interesting visualization of what's happening in his head. And that I thought was really well done. Really well done. The rest of the rest of the film doesn't grab you as much, right? This is, as it says, it's a love story. It's someone, he's seeing someone, but he's just going through the motions until he meets someone else, right? And that is like being hit in the head by a fish. Right? Yeah, it's that realization that, oh, this is the person. So it's one of those stories, right? Someone who's directionless but has a vision that doesn't know how to get there, and then feels that they could be on that path, right? But we're watching them navigate that. The thing is, we get no real development. We have these characters, but we don't really know who the fuck they are, right? It's you get the whole thing with Luna. It paints her as being this real shallow person, but there's bound to be more, but we don't get it, right? We have Anwar, who is kind of, JB Smooth's character, who's meant to be the comic relief, but again, there's nothing behind some lines, that aren't really that funny, to be honest. As a comedic relief, I ain't laugh, you know? We have Haley, who we don't really know her motivations, right? It's like, oh, I envisioned that we move in together and we'll do this and blah blah blah. But we don't know why her mind changes at times or anything like that, right? Why Isabella likes him and why he likes Isabella, right? It's just not really there. The conveying of emotion, you were hoping it was going to be as rich as how Rudy sees musical rhythm. But unfortunately, that is the most dynamic part of this film. Like there's a part where he goes to dinner with Haley's parents. And Haley's like, "Oh, my parents have invited you over for dinner." He's like, "Oh yeah, it's been ages since I'd seen them." Right? So you get the sense that they've hung out before, but when he goes for dinner, the things that are asked are like they've never met him before, which is really weird, right? It doesn't really make any sort of sense, and it's just a bit kind of typical. There's a bit like, as I said, Carla is their housemaid, as it were. She's Mexican, and so you get the whole, oh, you must know Carla, or you two must be able to speak to each other. When he's Brazilian, she's Mexican, right? Which is a played out thing. Now, not to say it doesn't happen, right? That those things don't get said. Oh, you're from Nigeria. You're from Ghana. Oh, you must be. You know what I mean? You get those things all the time, right? Jamaicans with Trinidadians, and it just you can just roll them off. I imagine. The thing with that is though, if they've already met, which Rudy indicates, you're not getting those questions, right? It's going to be a completely different dynamic, which is odd. It's an odd sequence, right? The first date with Isabella is odd, just for what happens. It's just kind of random and doesn't really go anywhere. You know what I mean? We've got this quandary that he's dealing with. We don't really get why, right? We don't really get why. We just get a statement that gets said a couple of times, but there's no weight behind it, right? There's nothing, right? If you were to ask me about, anyone I've dated, there's a reason why I dated them. There's a reason why I'm not dating them now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can convey that. You understand, right? You understand what attracted you to someone and why you are just like, nah, this ain't working. You understand those things, right? I know why I'm getting married to the girl I'm getting married to. You feel me? Like, I could talk about that all my fucking day. But here, Rudy can't convey anything. Can't convey anything, right? It's kind of a little bit of a self-indulgent project because we got Rudy front and center all the time. Which, if you're the star of the piece, fine, right? He's directing, he's co-wrote this thing, right? So yes, he wants to be front and center. The thing being front and center, you need to be compelling, right? You need for your character to be, you know what I mean, like the ocean, right? There's so much depth. But Rudy's like, well, a paddling pool in a drought, right? A millimeter of water right there. You're not drowning in that. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's nothing there. There's nothing there. And that's a shame because there is a lot of promise with this film visually. You know, some of the shots don't work. You know, some of the shots don't work. We're doing this whole transitional thing, which, it feels a bit like a theater production in a way, though a theater production is a bit slicker with this kind of thing. Now, it's an interesting approach. Don't get me wrong. It's an interesting approach, right? You can see that there has been thought go into this. You know what I mean? There's been thought. I'm not saying this is a shoddy thing at all, but you can see it's someone's first film, right? You can see they haven't directed a film before. Now, he's directed music videos and things like that, yes, but it's a whole different thing. It's a whole different thing. And it's just the film doesn't keep you, like, it didn't keep me occupied, right? If I wasn't, putting it in the pod, I don't know if I'd bother with the film or finish the film. You know what I mean? It's just that, which again, it's a shame. It's a shame. I will say though, I will definitely say that Camila um, Mendes, for me, though she's not really in this much, I did think she was better in this than she was in Upgraded. And Upgraded, she wasn't horrible in that, but the script and everything was horrible. Now, this isn't a better script, but I think just the performance is stronger for what we actually do see. So it's yeah, I think it's interesting with the way, as I said, with the music and everything like that. And if you like stuff like Upgraded, if you like stuff like How to Date Billy Walsh, then, Players, right? Those films, I think yeah, this will probably work with you. But I think don't expect too much, right? Now, with the whole puppets and for the music, you kind of think, oh, could be like Forgetting Sarah Marshall. No, no, no. Forgetting Sarah Marshall is a much, much stronger film. But yeah, I guess it is that YouTube generation. And that's where Mancuso built his fame, right? But it does show that just because you might be big on social doesn't mean that translates. Not to say he won't develop. There's plenty of people that have started off and have been kind of shaky, like John Cena, The Rock. Not great at the beginning, but they've definitely grown, right? They definitely grown. Um, so yeah, we'll see what happens. But you can watch Musica on Prime Video right now.